In the remote countryside of Bavaria, an entire family vanished into silence. But when neighbors finally checked on the isolated Hinterkaifeck farm, they discovered not just death, but something far more sinister. The killer didn't flee into the night. Instead, they stayed for days, living among the bodies, feeding the animals, eating the family's food. This is one of Germany's darkest unsolved mysteries, the Hinterkaifeck murders. 1. The Strange Prelude. The year is 1922. The Gruber family lived a quiet, if reclusive life on their small farmstead about 70 kilometers north of Munich. Patriarch Andreas Gruber, 63, his wife Cecilia, 72, their widowed daughter Victoria, 35, and Victoria's two children, 7-year-old Cecilia and toddler Joseph, just 2 years old. But in the weeks before tragedy struck, eerie events plagued the farm. Andreas found fresh footprints in the snow leading directly to the house, but none leading away. Strange noises came from the attic at night, like footsteps. House keys mysteriously disappeared. The previous live-in maid quit in terror, insisting the property was haunted. On March 31st, a new maid named Maria Baumgartner arrived for her very first day on the job. That evening, as darkness fell over the isolated farm, something evil was already waiting in the shadows. What happened next that night would leave investigators horrified for decades. 2. The Night of Horror. Investigators later pieced together a gruesome timeline. The family was likely lured or herded into the barn. One by one, they were brutally attacked with a mattock, a heavy pickaxe-like farming tool belonging to the family itself. Andreas, his wife Cecilia, daughter Victoria, and even little 7-year-old Cecilia were bludgeoned to death in the barn, their skulls smashed by savage blows. The killer then entered the main house. There they murdered 2-year-old Joseph in his crib and killed the new maid Maria in her bedroom, on the very night she had arrived. But the horror wasn't immediate for everyone. Forensic evidence showed that young Cecilia in the barn survived her wounds for several agonizing hours, long enough to tear out clumps of her own hair in terror as she lay dying beside the bodies of her family. When the bodies were finally discovered days later, the crime scene revealed an even more disturbing truth. The killer had not fled the scene. 3. The Killer Lingered. On April 4, 1922, 4 days after the murders, concerned neighbors finally investigated why the family had missed church and why young Cecilia hadn't been seen at school. In the barn, covered hastily with hay, lay the bodies of 4 victims. Inside the house, the maid and little Joseph. But what they found next was bone-chilling. Evidence proved the murderer had remained at Hinterkaifeck for up to 4 days after the killings. They had fed and tended to the cattle in the stable. They cooked and ate food from the kitchen. Smoke was reportedly seen rising from the chimney. The killer had quite literally lived among the corpses of their victims. No valuables were stolen. It wasn't a robbery. So what was the motive? And how could anyone do something so monstrous? The investigation that followed would interview over 100 suspects, but lead to no arrests. In our final part, the theories that still haunt this case to this day. 4. Investigation and legacy. Police and detectives swarmed the farm. They found the murder weapon, the family's own mattock, but in 1922, no fingerprints or modern forensics. Rumors pointed to possible motives tied to the family's dark secrets, including whispers of incest between Andreas and Victoria. Other theories suggested a vagrant hiding in the attic, a disgruntled neighbor, or even a local with a grudge. Dozens of people were questioned and arrested at times, but no one was ever convicted. The case was officially closed without resolution and remains unsolved over 100 years later. The farm was eventually demolished, but the mystery of who slaughtered the Gruber family and then stayed to haunt the scene of the crime endures. What do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? Was it someone close to the family? A stranger? Or is there an even darker explanation? If you love dark history and unsolved mysteries like this, hit like right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Drop your theories in the comments. Who do you believe was responsible? Share this video with fellow mystery lovers. Thanks for watching.